Yeah. Let's get this thing rocking. 14-team mock draft is now started. I saw a question coming I want to address. Can we get in this draft with you? So on Mock Draft Mondays, always, you guys can join the draft. If you want to join with the community, the Discord is in the bio. You can always get into the Discord, mock draft with the community. This is a little bit different, though. We kind of draft a little heavier receiver, kind of fade quarterbacks, but you can still get some mock drafts in. It's a lot of fun. So in your 14-team leagues, I typically decide, like, hey, I'm going to try to draft very similarly, but is there anything you adjust, Tyler, in your 14-team leagues for your drafts, or are you drafting pretty much the same way?
No, kind of the same way. 14-team, like, obviously it's a mock draft, but during the year, just the free, like, waiver wire is pretty dead throughout the year. So there might be, I like to go wide receivers probably a little bit more heavier in a 14-teamer. And the reason being is, like we've talked about this before, just wide receivers on the waiver wire is just, it's impossible to find guys to kind of pick up throughout the year. Really, you get maybe the first 2 weeks, and then the good wide receivers are taken off, and then you're just, like, once again, I said this before, but like Alec Pierce and Westbrook Akine, like, just kind of going through those kind of guys all the time. So I like to, especially in 14 teams when waiver wire is going to be really iffy to begin with, I like to go wide receivers just to get that out of the way and build a nice, really good base there early on.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that, getting receiver. I don't like you taking Puka right there, but I think we've talked about that already, Puka versus some of these other players. But I agree with you. I think normally taking receiver is the play there. And I feel like at least at the top, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of receiver and running back talent. So in the first 3 rounds, sometimes people go quarterback heavy. They'll go Lamar, or they'll go Josh Allen early. I don't mind it as much here in a 14-team league, because you talked about it, like going to the bench or going to the waiver wire is a little tougher in a 14-team league. So if you avoid quarterback, you got to hit. There's not going to be a lot of options out there for you on waivers. It's like that. It makes a little bit more sense, like round 3, to kind of take a Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, in my opinion, in these. So that's where I kind of switch it up. I might, depending on how the draft is going, I might go quarterback a little earlier than I normally do. I'm not doing it in the second round, though.
Well, in a regular draft with like 15 rounds, because this one only has 12, I would honestly, if I wait on the quarterback position, I would honestly maybe even double up on quarterback. Go like Dak Prescott and Drake May, something like that, or get a Trevor Lawrence. That way, you may have a higher chance that one of them does end up hitting. Let me see here.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit more, like, probably like upside, or like just a little bit more that you can use at your disposal if you needed to, right? Like it's not one of those things where, like, I don't know. I feel like for me, like I'm looking for the upside here, looking for the floor. But yeah, I feel you, dog. It's one of them things, like, I don't know. Say Yeet Man needs to get a job. What if he has a job? What if he works at night? You know what I'm saying? And then Yeet Man's here in the draft. Yeet Man trying to win some leagues. I ain't mad at him. Jay and Gabe, what's good? What's good, bro? Are you cool starting Stafford as a QB2 in Superflex? What is your teardrop for QB3s instead of 2s? I don't know. That's kind of where my teardrop is for 3s instead of 2s. It's right outside of, like, Michael Penix, Darnold. I feel like Darnold and Penix and Tua and Stafford, that's kind of the last range, I think, for 2s, and then it drops off to 3s.
Yeah, I'd have to look at but he's got to be like borderline-ish.
Yeah, he's at the back end for sure.
I would definitely want a pretty solid quarterback 1 if I'm gonna have Stafford as my quarterback 2.
If I had Stafford and Justin Fields, or Stafford and Dak, I'm not mad at that. Stafford and Jordan Love, I'd take that, depending on the rest of my roster.
I maybe, but like, your quarterback's the most important thing in the Superflex. So you're giving up a lot of points.
Why is court? So let's talk about this real quick, because I think this is interesting. We're not in Superflex, but I think it's interesting to talk about why do you think quarterback is the most important thing in Superflex? Because I hear this a lot. Like, you want to take 2 quarterbacks, you want to draft them early. Quarterback gives you stability, right? Like, it's not as vulnerable as the other positions. But why do you think quarterback is the most important? Because I tend to think, just me personally, in my opinion, I think that's a little overstated. I think having the right quarterback is valuable. Like, if you drafted Jaden Daniels last year, you were winning. If you drafted Baker Mayfield, you were winning. You were drafted Jared Goff, you were winning at the value, right? But I think it gets overstated sometimes about the need to draft a quarterback in the top 3 rounds, because, there's 32 quarterbacks available.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, but like when you're you have to hit at every position, because you could say the same exact thing what you just said, that you could wait. But what happens if you don't hit on the skill position players and now your quarterback room is weak as hell? Like you're at such a severe disadvantage because you don't have the quarterbacks to back it up. So like I just think that quarterbacks, you can start two of them. Quarterbacks are your highest scoring players in fantasy football. You know, you might have a Jahmyr Chase who's technically the number 6 player, number 4 player overall in fantasy football, but your quarter, because you can start two of them, I wouldn't want to have already a disadvantage amongst players who already have like a Jalen Hurts, who if you have, let's say Jared Goff, you're already at least a 4.5 point per game disadvantage at that quarterback.
Well,
Now
that's not true though, because you
yes,
have
it
then you
is.
have but then you have Ja'Marr Chase though. So now Ja'Marr Chase over whatever player you got later in that round is probably going to be an even bigger differential.
All right, let me go look at one of our drafts, because
Yeah.
I think this is so overstated, because once again, you're hoping Ja'Marr Chase is the wide receiver one.
Okay.
That's what you're there's going to be about 3 wide receivers. Last year I think there was only one last year that averaged over 20 fantasy points per game. So you're getting one guy. The other guys there are 18. Then it drops down to 16. So the disparity between the quarterback one that you're passing up on and hoping to get Ja'Marr Chase, who's 23 fantasy points per game, the odds are that you're going to miss out on that player that you're going to hope is the number 1 player in fantasy football, whether it be Ja'Marr Chase, whether it be Jonathan Taylor. Like you're going to leave yourself short at a
But
very
Tyler,
safe position.
I could literally say the same thing
No,
about quarterback, because some people took
not at
Dak
the out.
Prescott early, some people took Patrick Mahomes early, and
Once
those
again,
guys were regular as fuck last year.
not if you're talking about the elite guys. The elite guys are
Those
safe.
were elite guys. Those were elite guys last year.
Well, no, they were like I'm saying. Okay, I'm saying you're Jalen Hurts,
Okay.
you're Lamar Jackson,
Okay.
you're Josh Allen. Those
Okay.
guys are guaranteed to be 20 plus fantasy points per game every single year. That's
fair.
what they do. All
Right.
right. And then you get it into the next year, which I'm not. This is what I'm saying is that you're then going down from. Let's talk about who. First off, hold on. Let me pull this up.
Yeah,
I'm going to
you
go
good.
back and look at this mock draft that we
So
did not too
while you're
long
pulling that
ago.
mock draft up, I'm gonna make another point on that. So for me, I also look at it like this, right? If you hit on the quarterback that you take later, it changes everything for you, because now you enter that territory. Like if you had a super flex league last year and say you took Jaden Daniels, it hit for you, right? People took CJ Stroud last year and missed. So it was a little bit different, because now you have a quarterback that is playing at that same tier, that 20-point tier. So if you can get in Superflex, you can go get a Justin Fields this year, or somebody that has 20-point potential, a Dak Prescott that's maybe 19 or instead of 20 points. Now that takes things to a whole different level. So what I'm saying is, you've been told for so long, you need to go quarterback at the first 2 rounds. And my second point on that is that you only have to start one quarterback. You only have to. Like in theory, you only have to start. It's not a 2 quarterback league. And I think that stat that people throw out as far as like go quarterback early, that's for 2 quarterback leagues, not necessarily super flex where you can find a replacement.
The odds that you're starting a flex player outside of a quarterback is so incredibly low.
I hear you, but you can. It's my point. So the point differential is
the odds are so I don't want to say astronomical, but like so very low that you won't be starting. You see waivers every single week in Superflex leagues where guys are fighting over Mac Jones to be playing Mac Jones just because Mac Jones is an RB1 in fantasy football playing the quarterback position. Like you're starting a quarterback.
I hear you, but that is the reason what I'm talking about, is because now you can pick up that kind of production if it depends on the quarterback getting hurt. Like that matters too. So for me, I'm like Mac Jones. You could pick up Mac Jones and have a starting guy. Jalen Monroe becomes a starter later this year. Anthony Richardson becomes a starter later this year.
So hard to find though. Those guys are like in a super flex league. Like you're gonna have to be putting in top claim for those guys. Those will be the top claims every single week. So it's not as easy as saying I can go pick up, because those guys are not easy to pick up. Those are in superflex leagues, quarterbacks are the hardest position to pick up because everybody knows how valuable the position is. So I mean, sure, in theory, you could be starting fucking DeAndre Swift in your flex, but he's averaging 13, 12 fantasy points per game, which, yeah, if you're that desperate, is probably quarterback 32. I mean, sure, but
Right.
DeAndre Swift is probably also during the season your RB2, not your flex.
I don't
So
recommend starting a player in that spot, and I never would. I would recommend starting a quarterback. But what I'm saying is that the need to feel like you have to take two top guys outside of the three you mentioned, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, outside, and maybe in Jaden Daniels, I'll include in there. But like outside of those guys, if you want to start to include Joe Burrow in there, fine. But outside of the elite guys, and that's 5 elite guys out of a 12-team league, normally that's 5 elite guys I just mentioned. Out of that, like, what's the point of taking him in the first, second round? I think they're told, and you have to draft quarterback early. For me, I don't adhere to that, because maybe I feel just confident in my ability to find quarterback later. But I know Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Justin Fields, Master. There's a whole bunch of guys that can be like top 12-ish type quarterback plays. Oh shit, I went out of my bed. I'm over here yapping. Actually, I wasn't. That's fine for me. I'd have took him. I was going receiver there anyway. So, what do you guys think about the super flex conversation me and Tyler just had, man? Like, you guys agree with that? Like, obviously, I know super flex is one of those things where it's like your league, either everybody drafts super flex or nobody does. And it's kind of weird to see this dynamic. And I know we're not even doing a super flex draft, but like, I think it's good talking points. If anybody has comments on that, let us know. Tyler, so you're basically saying if you don't have a top 3 spot in Superflex, you're screwed. Because what if I have the 6th pick in Superflex and those elite guys are gone?
no, that's not what I'm saying. What I was saying is that at that point I would probably go with a skill position player, or I would even go still like with one of the elite, like Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, somebody that offers high end upside, because quarterback is at a premium. Like it's a super flex league. But that's not to say that I still want to go with one of these skill position players. What I'm saying is that if I'm going to absolutely punt the position, right, then you better hope to God you hit. Because if you don't hit, you're fucked. All right. And that's
but guess what? That's the beauty of fantasy, though. Like, you gotta hit, right?
I think that there's like Patrick Mahomes, it would be shocking if he's outside of quarterback 15 range. He hasn't been. Like, he's going to be a top 12 quarterback in fantasy football. The same with Joe Burrow, unless he gets hurt. I would be shocked if he's not. So, like, but to go, like, what I'm saying is that if I'm going to settle on Matthew Stafford as my quarterback 2, then I want to have somebody who's my quarterback 1 that I feel really good about finishing his quarterback 1, or at the very least have high-end upside to be a potential top 5 kind of guy. Just because Stafford, I do think, could have a good season this year, but he's definitely limited. There's no rushing upside here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I would prioritize quarterback every single time and like always quarterback. No, there's certain tiers that I want to have at least one guy in before I hit a next tier and feel good about that guy being my quarterback too. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's just time to change the narrative on it. And personally, I think that, and I don't know, maybe we're not going to like, lead the
I think
pitchfork or nothing to change it. It's just,
there's 2 different ways.
It's not an all-in strategy. Yeah. And I think some people think it's an all-in strategy. Like, you have to do it. To me, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Like,
so last year we're in a super flex league. You had your followers make a draft, and I had mine. I was in the championship, and I played one of your followers, and I went back and looked at it. In the first 2 rounds last year, I went quarterback, and I ended up with Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts. Now, he didn't do that, and I would say, it worked out well for him because he hit on Sam Darnold, and he also had Jared Goff, which ended up working out for him. So there's 2 different ways to approach it. Now, I would say what I did was very safe, and his was very risky, because if he didn't hit on Sam Darnold, then he's leaving that position.
But
So there's two different things.
And I would say that's the key right there. You talked about safe versus upside, because if he hits, he has a team that's damn near unbeatable. He has a team that wins a championship. And I think there's a safe way to go about it. But I also think you miss out on a lot of the upside if your players do hit. Like, you miss out on that. And I think that's why you talked about your team did well, because you hit on your quarterbacks, right? You hit on Kyler, you hit on Jalen Hurts. But a lot of your followers probably had quarterback heavy. I think your guys went heavier quarterback too. I want to say there wasn't any other team that made the playoffs. Like, and they had quarterbacks. They might have had a Dak Prescott. They might have had some of these other quarterbacks, a Patrick Mahomes, that disappointed. Whereas we took some of maybe the Jaden Daniels. We took some of the guys with higher upside. Your guys took like a CJ Stroud really early, and it just didn't work out. So I hear you, and I get like you're a different breed, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you understand the game, but like, if you go through the season and you don't have upside and you don't know who to pick up and you don't know how to maneuver the rest of that against a stacked lineup, like my guys will have with a stacked lineup with Chase and fucking Tyreek Hill and all these guys, you can't beat that shit.
I had at least one other guy make the playoffs last year.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't. My bad. I couldn't remember. I remember we were just talking shit. So. But yeah, I don't know. It's not. I would say this. I would just say like the super flex thing is like, it's a dynamic. I think if the players fall to you the right way, take a quarterback early. I'm not advocating for not taking quarterback early. If it happens, do it. But what I am saying is that I just think that there's no way in hell I'm going to go into a super flex draft and say I need to get 2 quarterbacks early. Like, it almost would, unless I was getting Lamar and somehow Josh Allen fell to me in the second round. Like, I'm not really looking for that at all, personally. If you're starting very questionable players like Pittman or Ayuk without any depth, that's the hard part of picking quarterback early. 17 of the top 22 scores in fantasy last year were quarterbacks. It's just the highest valued position. I hear you, right? But that's 17 positions. You hear that? 17 scores. You also have to start other positions, right? That would be like me saying Russell Wilson, who had 250 fantasy points, is the same value as, call it, George Pickens if he has 250 fantasy points. Just because you can start the same player, it doesn't mean that their replacement level is the same. You have to start 3 receivers. You have to start 2 running backs. And that's the same reason why people go in PPR leagues. You draft a receiver over a running back most of the time, because even if it's the same thing, you have more positions to start. There's more flexibility within that. So be careful of just saying the top scorer was this, because that's not equivalent. You only have to start 1 quarterback. You have to start 3 receivers. That's the difference. And so the drop-off from starting caliber players, the back end starting the 36th receiver off the board, is much different than the 12th quarterback off the board. The difference in replacement is what I'm saying. If that makes sense. I don't know. Did that make sense? I'm hoping it did.
Yeah.
That's a good combo. I feel like it's a good combo, man. Like, I feel like I want to have more of those kind of conversations, like the strategy stuff. Matt continued to say, if you have the opportunity to start more than 1, regardless of league type you're going to. I don't agree with that. I subscribe just to make this. Well, shout out to you for subbing, bro. Stick around for a while, man. And the good thing about me and Tyler is that I think we're both very successful fantasy players, and we do things differently at time. I think I'm probably just more successful than Tyler. You know what I'm saying? I'm just better than Tyler at fantasy. So
why'd you miss your championship last year?
Because I had to let all my guys win, bro. I had to let my team win. I'm a team player like LeBron. I dish it off. They took it home for me. I'm currently doing a 3 receiver, 2 flex league, so I decided to go Smitty over May and Caleb tier at quarterback. Still went Dak. Yeah, I feel like Dak is a good option, bro.
Mm-hmm.
For Henry versus Health League, are you making a new one or reopening? Got to make a new one. New chances, new opportunities. If you got in there, it's not saying you're not going to get in again this year. It's just, and the league winner automatically, the Gabe, you automatically get a spot in there. You're the league champ, so you get back in. But all the rest of the spots are going to be up for grabs. I
went and I looked at, because I remember last year I had Jalen Hurts was hurt the championship week, and so was Bucky Irving.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Bucky Irving. I had Chuba Hubbard, so I had to go with, and I started Chase Black, or what was his name? Not Chase. Raheem Blackshear. Yeah, but it ended up being Miles Sanders.
He went crazy. He went crazy that week too.
Yeah, that was bad. But I will say I did pick up one guy, and it ended up Omadia Zacchaeus. I don't even know why I picked him up.
The Commanders?
Yeah, and he ended up having 23 points.
Oh, that was the game. Was that the game against Philly where there was a hella high scoring game? Am I tripping? Is it Philly? No, that was the week before. What was the weekend in championship week? It was
I
Commanders
don't know.
versus.
I don't know if these are correct of what they. I'm assuming it's correct. He played against Seattle, and he had
Commanders.
23. Or no, maybe it was. I think it was Atlanta.
Oh no, he's on a new team. That's why.
Oh, that's why he.
Yeah, he's on a
Okay.
new team, so they
So
probably
it
messed
doesn't
it.
have. Yeah, you're right.
They probably messed it up. But yeah, I was trying to think who the Commanders played last year. It wasn't. I thought it was Philly. I think it was Philly, and I'm pretty sure because we're all worried about like, oh, is Jaden Daniels going to play well? Philly shut him out last time. I don't know if I should start
No,
him.
Philly played Dallas. They played Atlanta.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
They
right. You're
played
right. You're
Atlanta.
right. You are right because Bijan had Washington. You're right. You're right. You're right about that.
And I'm assuming it had to be a high scoring game. Yeah, it was 30-24.
In a super flex, I'm definitely not taking two quarterbacks first 2 rounds, maybe one at the values, right? Yeah, the value. I feel like value is where it matters. I'm definitely not going into most drafts, even like a 14-team league. I'm not going in with like a set strategy of just like I need to draft.
No. Once again, I just, for me personally, it's more about tiers. Like the quarterback should be valued in tiers, like and then the players as well. Once you get to like JSN, right? Like I'd much rather have a quarterback that I feel good about, like a Dak Prescott. I'd rather take a Dak Prescott over somebody like that just because Dak's upside is 21 fantasy points per game, which at the quarterback position is really important. I feel like. So I'm going to go, I'll go with Jordan Mason. So that's the biggest thing. That's what I would say is more of what I was getting at in the beginning, is that there's certain tiers and there's certain tiers that I would feel good about. Like I want a certain guy in a certain tier to be my quarterback 1, and then another guy like a certain tier that I would feel the most comfortable with being my QB2. With the Matthew Stafford, I'm okay with him being my quarterback 2 if I have a certain guy like Dak Prescott or Kyler Murray, somebody like that, that's my quarterback 1 that I feel good about. That's what I'm saying.
It's just funny because when I go into some, like I love going into like when you next time you go live, Tyler, let me get into a sleep like one of your mocks, because I love going into those leagues and like there's like 4 or 5 or 6 quarterbacks taken off the board, and I'm at the back end of the first round, and I'm like, okay, let me scoop up CeeDee Lamb. Okay, let me scoop up Jahmyr Gibbs too, or like let me scoop up Devon Achane. Like getting some of the players that I like at high value or high upside. I love doing that in leagues, and then I feel like I get quarterback later because everybody goes quarterback. So the top 15 typically go in the first 2 to 3 rounds, and then I'm just sitting back there. Okay, cool. Who's left? And I can get value on them way later. So I don't know. Let me ask this: how do you feel about the second-year quarterbacks, like Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix? They're all elite. I mean, a bunch of those guys are elite.
I like a lot of them. I think it's really good for the league too with these guys. The league needed some quarterbacks, and they're getting some.
Yeah. The quarterback 10 scored 100 points more than the RB 10. Who was the quarterback 10 last year? Where'd you have to draft him? Who was the quarterback 10?
Probably Kyle. I think Kyler was quarterback 10.
Yeah, and position to position doesn't, like I said, it shouldn't be the QB 10. You should be comparing that to like it's not the same comparison because you start more positions. Like I don't know how to describe that. Like it's a weird way to describe that. Like I don't. I hear you, Matt. But I don't think your point is correlating. At least to me, it's not correlating. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can convince me otherwise. But to me, your point's not correlating because you have to start more. You start more running backs than you do quarterbacks, and there's more flexibility with them if you have a flex. It's not correlating to me, dude. And like I said, if you can tell me otherwise, let me know. If people are out on Kyren, why aren't those same people talking about Hunter and Corum? Who do you like out of that Rams backfield? Because I've been hearing a lot of people like hating on Kyren Williams for whatever reason. Like somebody in this chat even said like his carries were going to go down. But like Kyren, I'm still in on Kyren at like 3rd round value. I don't understand.
I don't understand who said his like. I'm not saying in the chat, but like who has said that his carries are gonna? Because I had somebody in my chat yesterday, or when I went live last, I think it was 2 days ago, that said something about like Kyren being a reach where I took him because I took him in like the late 2nd or early 3rd round.
Yeah,
and I was like, why? And they said, well, because he was losing touches last year. And I said, okay, let's go back and look at it. Last year, Kyren Williams was first in snap share. And if you go and look at every single game, there was one game in which Blake Corum, I think, played over 15% of the snaps. and that was I forget what game it was, but the guy was like, "Oh, I must have just been watching that game." And like, there's this big misconception I feel like with Kyron Williams that he lost work or is going to lose work, because that never happened last year. The one thing
He's
that
gonna
I'll
return
say with
punts.
like, yeah, returning punts. The one thing that I'll say with Kyron is I don't think Kyron Williams, once again, like I've said this before, I don't think he's very good. I think he's good, but he's not like Jonathan Taylor or somebody like that that's elite running back talent. Like, I think
Yeah.
he's a replaceable player where maybe Jarquez Hunter is good, but the thing about it too is Blake Corum was a 3rd-round pick last year and barely sniffed the field. So people think that a 4th rounder now and Jarquez Hunter is all of a sudden going to push him. I just don't see that being the case. Outside of an injury, Kyron Williams is probably going to be one of the, I don't want, not elite, but elite in terms of work, like being a
Well, and to
workhorse
be
running
honest,
back.
he's fucking like the way that he's being drafted. I'm like, people forget it's a contract year for Kyron. He's sitting there talking about he wants to get paid.
Yeah, he wants to get
So
paid.
if he wants to get paid, he's got to show out this year. And I think some of that, we got to take care of Kyron, or like maybe put him in a committee. Some of that's just camp high too. Like coaches always say that. What are you going to do? Tell him, oh no, we're going to go all through him again and not give our backups any opportunity. How are you going to get them to fight through camp? Like you got to get your guys. You got to be able to talk up your guys. And it's funny because like, especially if it's Sean McVay, I don't know if there's like something that came out or something, some kind of maybe statement that was made, but like Sean McVay does this shit all the time. Literally, he said, one year he said Cooper Kupp was going to be kicking field goals. They said Kyron Williams is going to be returning punts. Like he does this shit all the fucking time. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really be listening to these coaches. Like, well, some coaches. I don't really listen to McVay like that.
No, Kyron Williams last year, the one thing that's nice about Kyron Williams, he's just a workhorse in close. Like he had 20 rushing attempts inside the 5-yard line last year, which was 3rd in the NFL. He was 1st in I want to say red zone attempts, carries. So like he's just a workhorse running back when it matters the most. And this Rams offense should be, I think this Rams offense should be very good this year as long as all of them are healthy.
I ain't mad at Blake Corum though, because I feel like Blake Corum, he might have a little opportunity. I got to be in again, homie. It's gonna be a redraft, bro. It's gonna be all brand new teams in there. Like I said, Gabe, you got to win the league if you want to stick around. So Gabe will be in there for sure. But other than that, I don't know. You might get another opportunity. We'll see how we give you. I haven't decided how we're gonna give him out yet, Tyler. We'll have to figure out a way to do that. Maybe it's gonna be like I don't know. Me and you will figure something out. How do y'all draft from computer when Sleeper is a mobile app? You can also do it on desktop. Talking that shit, he said, we're going to play again in the ship this year and see what strategy prevails so I can get another jersey. Yeah, maybe we'll do another jersey this year. Not sure what we're gonna give away this year. It'll be fun, though. It'll be fun. It's a very general statement. Quarterbacks are the highest scorers in fantasy. All right. So, Matt, I'm going to play a game. I'm gonna play a game with you. Okay. If quarterbacks are the highest scorers in fantasy.
Back. Hold on, my dog barking like crazy.
All good. I'll be right back. Good. Yeah, take care of that. I'm gonna make this statement for you, right? You said quarterbacks are the highest scorers in fantasy. So then why don't you come out the gate and draft 3 quarterbacks? Why don't you draft 5 quarterbacks? Why don't you draft quarterbacks until all the quarterbacks that are starting are gone? It's because you have other positions to fill and it's in lineup. It's not just quarterbacks, and you can say like that's why I'm saying your whatchamacallit is skewed a little bit. Like the take is skewed, and I get that they are the highest scorers, but that's the problem with general statements. It doesn't always correlate to how you win your championship. It doesn't always correlate, right? 60% of this doesn't always correlate. It's not 100%. Like of specific, especially is that an 8-team league? Is that a 10-team league? Is that 12-team league? Is it 14? Is it 16? Like. That's my point. So if it's the highest score, even in superflex, like that doesn't matter. It's positional eligibility as well. That matters. You only have to start 12 quarterbacks. Literally, you only have to start 12. You have to start 20. God damn it. You have to start 24 running backs. You have to start 36 receivers. Let me get somebody else real quick. Hold on. I hear what you're saying, but it ain't correlating. Just being honest. And like I said, the math ain't mathing. And you got to hit on your quarterbacks too. The same way you got to hit, because you can say the QB10 was equal to the RB10, so to speak. You also have to hit on the QB10. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to draft that player. Like last year, who were the top 10 quarterbacks last year? Let me see. The top 10 quarterbacks last year. Let's find out who they were. I'm about to look that up real quick. Just so we can see who drafted. Did you draft if you had a top 2 round pick last year, did you draft one of the QB 10? Did you draft that? Last year it was that's a different week. Last year we had Lamar, Josh, Joe. Then we had Baker Mayfield, who was not drafted in the top 10. Jaden Daniels, who was not drafted in the top 10. Jared Goff, who was not drafted in the top 10. Bo Nix, who was not drafted in the top 10. Then you had Jalen Hurts. Then you had Sam Darnold, who was not drafted in the top 10. And then Kyler Murray. So the people who spent first-round picks on quarterbacks, maybe you hit with Lamar and Josh, but did you hit with – but I, who took my quarterback a little bit later, got that exact same value out of Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold. And yes, in theory, you have to hit on those guys. That's the risk. You have to hit on it. But at the same time, those players are there. The players are still there. Somebody is going to hit on that and recoup the value. So you're taking a chance. Why not? Like I would feel much more confident with me taking a chance on, let's call it Michael Penix being a top 12 finisher at the position than I would with like Trey Harris being a top 12 finisher at the position. You know what I'm saying? Like that might be your third receiver. Michael Penix is going to be my starting quarterback. I would take that. You would have to start a Ricky Pearsall, and if he doesn't finish top 12 at the position, you're asked out. Whereas for me, I take Justin Fields later, maybe in that same round, and now I got the same type of upside. So I hear you. I can get Justin Herbert later, Brock Purdy later, Jordan Love, and yes, I have to hit on that in theory, but I'll take my chance hitting with those guys versus trying to hit with, like, call it Khalil Shakir, hitting with Josh Downs as my wide receiver 3. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'll let y'all do that. I ain't doing that.
Whoa. Josh Downs slander? No.
I mean, Michael Pittman's the one there, so what are we talking about? Michael Pittman's the one, right? I mean, is he not am I tripping, or is Michael Pittman not the wide receiver 1 there?
I mean, am I tripping? Who averaged more fantasy points per game?
Who scored more fantasy points last season in the injured year?
Did he outscore him? I don't even know if he did outscore him.
I think he did outscore him. I'm not sure on that, by the way. I think maybe if he finished right there near him, but he was dealing with the back injury last year, so.
Excuses.
I mean, I'm just telling what it is. He had a bad year. That's not an excuse. That's just facts. That's just facts. Facts. This is a great conversation. And chat, appreciate you guys tapping in because that helps us too. When you guys have feedback for us, like obviously we need that. So don't run away, Matt. Don't run away, bro. Don't run away, bro. Henry and for JSN and Kittle, which side wins redraft? 12-man PPR, 2 running back, 2 receivers. Derrick Henry for JSN and Kittle, and you only got to start 2 receivers. I think it's good enough value for Henry. I wouldn't need to see the rest of the team. It feels like good enough value. I probably would rather just keep Henry, though.
I think it's a solid trade.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Like, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I like JSN. I'd just rather keep Henry. Like, Henry could be. He was the RB4 last year, RB3.
Yeah. He's probably top 5 again this year.
I don't think JSN could ever get that close. I mean, Kittle obviously is elite in his own regard, but I'd rather have an elite running back than elite tight end.
Yeah, and if you took Henry, chances are if you took tight end early, you're probably good at tight end enough. Like, I think Derrick Henry's just them games he'd be having are kind of crazy. I don't know. I think it's good enough value, and it's probably an overpay. This would qualify as like a pretty even trade, in my opinion. I probably would rather just stick with the star power to start the year. If I got like a little bit later into the season, I'm probably taking this JSN and Kittle side. But for now, I'm just keeping Henry. All right. We finished the 14-team draft. How are y'all feeling about this? Who you guys chat? Who has the best team? Who has the best team? First team killed it. Chase, Josh Allen, Pickens, Meyer. I'm not feeling the receivers. I don't like that team. I don't like this team at all. Team 1? I'm not a fan of this team.
Unless he's the person that drafted it.
Yeah, this is not that great of a team, bro. I'm not gonna
hold I don't. And this is a 3 wide receiver league. Like, I do like Pickens, I do like Myers, but like also
not as your 2 and your 3 though.
Yeah, like I'd rather. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that squad. Thoughts on the teams? Tyler, you like your squad? How it played out?
Yeah, I mean it's all right. We were talking, so I didn't have I wasn't that locked in, but I mean I like the beginning. I like how it kind of started. I
It
feel
is tough.
fine.
I say it's tough to draft and be chatting up. When you're in your drafts, make sure you locked in. Don't get people off your grind. I won 10K in a daily fantasy on Underdog, placing fourth out of 250,000 people, and Herbert was my QB. He scored 23 and was like QB 8 to 10 on this week. It's the upside. I think the safe thing to do is drafting quarterback. I think you win championships.
Is that a one quarterback league? Is that
Underdog? No, I think Underdog. Yeah, Underdog's only one quarterback.
Well, they do have some contests that are superflex. But I mean, if it's one quarterback, I mean, hell yeah, I would be waiting on one quarterback in one quarterback leagues.
Favorite fantasy app besides Sleeper? Sleeper best right now.
I would say Yahoo, just because I've played there forever, personally.
Yeah. All right. Either the third team or yours. The third team, who's main 48 always drafts well. CeeDee Lamb, Bucky Irving, Brock Bowers, Travion, Godwin, Mahomes, Spears, Mooney. I don't like Mooney as a third. And Douglas and Godwin. The receivers are just lacking on there, bro. That's the only thing. Receivers are lacking on this one. It's not bad though. I like how my team played out. Only thing is I don't know. I like my team. I don't think I got very good depth. Maybe I wasn't focused, but I feel like my depth is really lacking here for some reason. But I feel like normally I do better depth wise. But I guess that's what happens when you take quarterback and tight end early. But I wasn't mad at the draft. Key dot not bad. Q, where you at, Q? H-Hand, Garrett Wilson, Metcalf. Got Kyler really late. See, that's what I'm saying. There's so many quarterbacks. I'm good with Kyler as my starter. I would have much rather taken a star. No, I like where I got Jalen Hurts there.
Yeah, Jalen in a 14-team league too.
Yeah,
Jalen was good there.
But yeah, I think you did really good here. I think you smashed this. Good job. Good job. Y'all want to do another one? 12-team? Y'all want to do a 12-team? 12-team super flex? 12-team super flex? Y'all ready for it or what?